Okay. Then request. Yes, good. We have you.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
It's
Sorry
actually
about
great to see you after such a long time. Yeah.
Absolutely. A pleasure. Okay.
Uh, okay,
I hope you're not too
guys. Uh, I didn't get you. Your voice is cracking.
okay. Is it better?
Yeah, it is. So, all those who have joined, first of all, it is World Mental Health Day. That's the reason of this event. This World Mental Health Day is basically, it started with WHO basically announcing it to create awareness around the mental health issues, which are at its peak as of now. Indeed, today morning in one of the news channels, I heard that IPS studies says that there's a 20% increase in mental health issues with COVID happening. I haven't read the whole article, so I would not be able to comment on the whole article. This was something which was flashing in the news in the morning. Uh, so we have with us Varsha, uh, who is professionally a corporate professional, worked for more than 10 years into HR recruitment and customer service operations, a reader, a lover of music, yoga, hula hoops. Uh, but I think I know Varsha more as a friend. And so I thought, why not have her over with her set of queries around uh, mental health issues. I hope she can even ask questions which would be answering a lot of queries of a lot of your people also, and that would be helpful. That's the purpose of me doing it live. Otherwise, I could obviously at any time answer her questions on the phone calls. That wouldn't have been a problem for me. Thus, I'm very thankful to Varsha for saying yes to my random plans that I have with creating this awareness, and she being readily available for us and to basically bring out all the questions that she can bring to us and maybe address. I'll try my best to address them so that whoever is seeing this video can be helped by the basic awareness. Obviously, we are not over here as a therapist in terms of doing a therapy session live. We are just addressing certain questions which a person might like to understand before even going to a psychologist, before even seeking a therapist. So these sort of questions is what we are going to address over here. Right. So Varsha, welcome on board, and let's have the shooting of questions coming up.
Thank you very much. So, I have thought about few questions for you, and I'm sure you will be able to answer those queries. Those may be, I can say that those could be generic questions which might relate to a lot of us in the daily life. So, to start with, the first question I have is in the times of pandemic, working professionals like us, I feel that, I mean, being from the HR industry, my experience has been that people who have either been looking for jobs since before the pandemic struck, or the ones who have been experiencing any kind of difficulties in job hunt, even those who are currently well settled in their current jobs, post pandemic, these people, all these kind of people have been experiencing issues related to job hunt, or even the current professionals, they tend to work overtime since the lockdown has started. So the commuting definitely gets saved, but at the same time, they get a lot of extra work amounting to an extra stress at work. So, how, as a professional, would you guide all of us working professionals to handle stress to keep ourselves motivated?
Okay, Varsha, to that I would also like to quote a study which had come around 2, 3 days back in the newspaper, which was talking about that there's approximately 40% increase of stress which is experienced by professionals in the professional field in whatever they are, and not getting to specific one field or anything, it is almost become generic that there is excessive stress which is experienced by a huge chunk of people, and one study obviously saying 40% who are experiencing stress. uh, One stress is because of what is COVID restricted us. I usually say that COVID has almost demanding something which is inhuman for us.
Mm.
We humans who would love to socialize, who would love to connect with one another, like very simply me saying, I'm so happy to see you. Whereas we could just see each other whenever possible. Now it becomes an extra question as to when we can. So this need of us human to connect with people, to be there for one another, to uh, touch a person, to feel a person, to connect with people is something which is restricted because of COVID. Because the basic demand of COVID is the distance. Uh, so there is one aspect which we have to all contain, sustain with it, because this is something which we cannot change. I might, how much so ever wish that, I could just fly in over to your place, or just go and meet my friend next door. My friend which stays in the campus just next to me, I have not seen her. I might have talked to her, I might have online things might have happened, but I've not gone to her house for ever since the lockdown has happened. uh, because we are basically both into I mean, she's meeting patients. She is a doctor. Uh, I am not seeing most of I'm seeing most of my cases online, but yes, few emergency cases even I am seeing in person. We don't want to be the carriers of infection for one another. And if we mental health people or doctors specifically are not concerned about how, I mean, we should be the one, we should be the first person to be aware how lethal this illness can be. So we do choose to not meet. So this is one of the stress of COVID. But the additional stress which has come up is the financial factor, because of which professional life has become difficult. Uh, as you had said very appropriately, things in terms of professional field had anyway been difficult from some good time even before COVID. And the worst thing is in terms of maintaining a work-life balance was very much skewed up before the lockdown itself and had become a part of everybody's lifestyle, at least if I say about Gurgaon, and I think at least when I'm talking to you, I'm talking of Bangalore, I think isn't any better in that sense. At least means I'm talking of the bigger cities, it was that way. That people had who were working in MNCs, who were working in a lot of organizations had started taking half of the clients back home, uh, marketing people giving call right in the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening. I remember one of my friend, he actually got a call from HR at 9 saying that, you can come tomorrow for the interview. And I was like, is this lady lost it? And this was before COVID. And I was like, has she actually lost it? 9 बजे कौन सी HR call करती है? So, so we had lost that concept of personal time and professional time. With further now the mandate of working from home, it has become furthermore exaggerated. And the thing is, we don't know where to draw boundaries. We Indians are not in a habit of drawing boundaries. Uh, and the person who draws boundary is said to be bad, is said to be not interested in work, and both ways. So the person is even not ready to draw the boundary, nor are the office people ready to draw. So that's where the biggest stress is coming up. We have no sense of personal time and professional time. Thus, I usually suggest people, one, make it sure that you work during as much possible within the working hours. Many people, many companies say it upfront that you are saving on traveling time, does work extra. You can give in that time, but make sure that you have personal time separately. Don't mix up work and personal work together because it will not work in the long run. It is one of the major causes of stress because we don't know where the boundaries end. We don't know how to enjoy our personal time. When you're working, make sure you have a proper seat, a proper table where you can sit and work, and this is your professional time, so that you are not mixing up between the kid coming in demanding something. I've told even mothers who are very small, comparatively 1 2 year old child, so that they make the child understand when the mother is in the office room, there's an office or room or a space, whatever you can organize in your own house, there they haven't to be disturbed. So there should be a working time, there should be a non-working time. One of the biggest stress is because of that we are not able to draw the boundaries. Yes, the other part is the economical part, which we are having difficulty. There is a issue of reduce of work, actually employment. That is a fact. But one of the stress which is in our control is segregating this part, your personal time, professional time. Personal time, make sure you have some time completely for yourself, especially people who are living in families, for yourself, where you can just take a break and entertain yourself, something for your own relaxation, something for your own fun, where like Varsha has talked about music and yoga and hula loops, whatever, that should be your personal time. So relaxation and segregation of boundaries, this would be a great help for most of the people. Right. So I hope I've addressed this.
Absolutely. I appreciate your am I visible? I think there was some network issue.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I think there was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thanks for your inputs. Moving on to my second question. Um, what, according to you, is the right way to identify someone who is currently dealing with mental health issues? Because my personal experience is that most depressed people are known to hide their emotions in public. So basically, they don't want to look weak or depressed. So they prefer pretending, and therefore the signs may be invisible or subtle. So, what do you think is the right way to understand?
See, understand one thing. I'll like to address this very differently. Because interestingly, you did talk about how people perceive that mental health is about weakness, which I just addressed a few minutes back when I and Isha was talking of myths.
Mhm.
Uh, so, why do you want to know that the other person is suffering from mental illness? It is to extend your helping hand, to support the person.
Mhm.
So, that should be a very constant feeling which a person should have. One should make sure that one is able to connect at this moment. The more you can connect with people and say that you're there for one another, it will be helpful. The person need not be actually suffering from mental illness per se.
Mhm.
Usually we need not need to rub it on anybody's face that you might be into depression or something, unless you really see predominant indicators of it. And predominant indicators are any sort of changes that you notice in a person.
Mhm.
Person is trying to be over friendly, person is sleeping more, exhausted more, eating more, or extremely on the other side, eating extremely less, sleeping extremely less, excessively talking, something on those lines, which might be something uh, which needs to be seen. So any sort of change in an individual, the person is mentally ill or not, but surely might need some sort of help. And the first help, obviously, comes also from the near and dear ones, the family, the friends, the near and dear ones. Uh, Second thing which I like to add over here is that if you feel that there's something going weird with this person, it might not be a bad idea to ask the person with concern. And trust me, people understand when it is a concern and when you're trying to mock.
Yes, but some
So
people are
we have
actors.
uh, no, they are actors. They can pretend that they are going through nothing. Then it is means if they're pretending that, then understand maybe it is not your business to do into that. So yes, with family and friends, you might slightly still want to intrude, very Indian nature of us. But at a professional level, it's fine to keep a distance. Uh, but second thing which I would like to convey it interestingly, because you asked it over here and something that came up into my mind. If with somebody you feel anxious,
Hmm.
you don't otherwise feel anxious, but you are with somebody, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling something really going wrong. Believe in your guts. Maybe there's something,
Yeah.
maybe that person does need some help.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question is something which I also personally relate to a lot. So you might as well say that I'm concerned about myself. So this is something to do with OCD, which is the obsessive compulsive disorder. So in layman terms, it's nothing but excess thoughts or obsessions about something, some habit of mine that lead to repetitive behaviors or compulsions. For example, um, for take my example. OCD is a everyday thing for me. I have the OCD of ensuring that I close all the open drawers. If I open a bottle lid, I have to close it properly. I have to lock my phone at all times. So basically, I can't leave things open. Also, I have to be very conscious of spelling errors, especially when I'm sending out WhatsApp messages. Then I make sure that I don't falter on the spellings. If I do by any chance, because I'm typing very fast, then I make it a point to put an asterisk or a star next to the correct spelling of the word and I resend it to the receiver. Although my message might be clear, but I am at unease. I totally feel like correcting the mistake because that's my responsibility. So, my question is, in a nutshell, when is a good time to really understand? I mean, for me, this may be a harmless situation, but from your point of view, when do you think a lot of us who have this kind of an OCD in our daily lives, when is the actual time or the right way to understand how and when the OCD needs a medical intervention?
Medical intervention and psychological interventions might be very different. Uh, to call it an illness, one important thing is it should impact your life. At least two arenas of your life: personal, professional, social, something on those lines. It has to impact your life. So if it is impacting your life, it is good idea to look at interventions. OCD might first of all need just a psychological intervention and not a psychiatrist intervention to begin with, maybe. Uh, Depends on the severity, let the clinical psychologist decide. So if I'm saying at what level and where should the person actually seek therapy, when it starts impacting one's life. If not your own life, it could be the life of person around you who's getting impacted by it, and thus thus impacting your relationship with the person. So it could be impact on any on your personal life or on somebody who is near and dear to you. That would be a good time. Okay, so Varsha, interestingly, we have seemingly lost her connect. Okay, I think she can see the video later on to get that answer. I think I have addressed that part of it, that it is more about the idea that, where is it that one is getting impacted by any of the illness. I actually tell most of my clients, when we are actually looking at psychotherapy work, not a medical intervention, but when we're looking at a psychotherapy work, any at any level, when you feel that you want a better life, what you're going through is not what was your understanding of life, and you want a better life, it is impacting you in some way or the other. It might be a good idea to basically look. Yes, Varsha is back. Uh, so it might be a good idea to basically look at intervention, look at therapy when there is Varsha, this you'll have to see the video back. So basically look at the idea that wherever it has started impacting you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have one last question for you. What are the qualities of a mentally strong person, according to you?
Okay. Uh, we are all vulnerable people. Uh, None of us are strong all the time. I think now there's a lot of spread around this idea that it is wrong that we tell boys that you should be strong. So basically, we are saying that we being humans, this is a human quality. We are weak. That's why mental illness, that's the funniest part. We are so prone to mental illness, and still we basically want to believe that, this is bad. Indeed, funnily, in mental health, uh, many of the people who understand mental illness, psychiatric part of it, they realize that anxiety is as common as
Yes.
Okay. So basically, in mental illnesses, we talk about anxiety, especially as common as cold. Like normal life में हमें cold होता ही रहता है, तो anxiety होती रहती है. So there's nothing like uh, it is not something very uncommon. So basically, there's no concept per se as being strong mentally. There are phases that we go through. But the whole strength of the mental illness, to manage the mental illness, is your containability. The more you can hold the issue, more you can contain the issue, the more resilience if you have, is the more capacity that you'll be able to easily fight back. Although the plus factors which we see in a lot of psychiatric illnesses is the concept of any illness which starts later in life is much easier to heal. Any person who are actually highly educated are usually much easier to heal because they can understand the concepts in therapy, and this they can work on themselves. Less the genetical loading means you have less illness in your genes from your parents. Diagnosed or undiagnosed is not what we are talking of, because many of us might have a lot of mental illnesses which might not be diagnosed in our elderly families. But less the genetical loading, the much easier it is for the person to manage it. So these are the aspects, but per se, I would not like to say anybody is mentally strong. We all can be strong at one phase and might not be strong at the other phase. So there's no pure concept of being mentally strong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an ongoing process, I would say. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so with the help of our near and dear ones, let it be the family or friends, they are the ones whom we could reach out to in case of any situation where, for example, we tend to falter. I'm sure all of us feel the stress. So it's a good idea. And really, thank you for answering all the questions. Really
Thank
appreciate
you,
your
Varsha,
time.
indeed. Thank you. Thanks a ton for doing this for me. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
People, you can continue join us in the next one. We'll be doing it now with Simran. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.